Hey, hi, hello. Today I am going to be shouting out Azure Clothing. I'm so sorry if I said that wrong, but they are an Asian streetwear clothing brand, and right now their whole site is $10 off. So if you go shop right now, their great quality clothing, you will get fast shipping, like faster than your Amazon order. Faster than Wish. Now that's crazy. Because Wish, they're notorious for taking forever. But you can expect Azure to be quicker because of their fast shipping. And if you're looking for the perfect shirt for that person who loves flowers like lotus or blossoms, this is the site for you. Now, let's get right back to the Martin family disappearance. Thank you so much to Azure for letting me shout them out. Sorry if I get anything wrong. The Martin family from Portland, Oregon, United States would go missing on December 7th, 1958 in the Columbia River Gorge during a day trip to gather greenery for Christmas decorations. The family consisted of 3 girls and their parents. Their parents' names were Kenneth and Barbara, who were 54 and 48. The girls' names were Barbie, Virginia, and Susan, who were 14, 13, and 11, respectively. But they also had an oldest child, Donald, who at the time was in the United States Navy and was stationed in New York State at the time of the family's disappearance. Several months after the family vanished, the bodies of Susan and Virginia were discovered downstream on the shores of the Columbia River, roughly 30 miles apart from each other. Police had initially suspected that the family's car may have lost control and crashed into the river, although the circumstances surrounding the event could not be fully explained. Complicating the case was the discovery of a stolen handgun and the arrest of 2 ex-convicts in the area the day after the family's disappearance. Investigators were unable to determine if the incidents were in any way connected. The whereabouts about Kenneth, Barbara, and Barbie still remain undetermined. But in August of 2025, diver Archer Mayo would discover human remains and various artifacts, including a camera cover with Ken Martin's name on it inside a vehicle found submerged in Cascade Locks. The family's disappearance has been described as one of the most baffling mysteries in Oregon history, and it sparked the greatest manhunt the state had undertaken at the time. So let's get into the disappearance itself. On the evening of December 6, 1958, Kenneth and Barbara Martin of Portland, Oregon attended a Christmas party before returning to the home at 1715 N East 65th Avenue in the Roseway neighborhood of Northeast Portland. The couple had already made plans for a day trip into the country for the following day. In the late morning of Sunday, December 7th, Kenneth and Barbara left their home with their daughters in their 1954 cream and red-colored Ford Country Squire station wagon. Barbie, who was the eldest daughter, was a freshman at Grant High School. The family's eldest child, a son named Donald, who was 28, was a U.S. Navy veteran and a graduate student at Columbia University in New York City at the time. The Martins headed east for a drive into the Columbia River Gorge, where they intended to gather greenery to make Christmas wreaths and decorations. The knowledge of where the family traveled specifically through the day is sparse. Gene Baxter, a gas station proprietor, reported that he encountered the Martins when they purchased 5 U.S. gallons of gasoline from his store in Cascade Locks around 4 p.m., approximately 40 miles from their home in Portland. According to Baxter, he recalled the car continuing east after they had purchased the gasoline. The family was then seen again shortly after at the Paradise Snack Bar in Hood River, approximately 20 miles east of Cascade Locks, where a witness named Clara York stated she served the family. Other reports from passing motorists indicated that the family was seen in an unspecified location on the north bank of the Columbia River in Washington state at dusk. According to eyewitnesses who saw the family that day, Kenneth was reportedly wearing a tan zip-up jacket and dark slacks. Barbara wore a navy blue coat, a plaid jacket, and black print dress. Barbie was reportedly dressed in jeans with rolled cuffs and a beige coat. Now, starting the investigation. On December 9th, Kenneth failed to report to his job at Eastseals Electric Home Service Company, while Barbie was noted absent from her morning classes at Grant High School. Both Susan and Virginia were reported absent by their teachers at Rose City School. The family was officially reported missing that evening by Kenneth's boss, Taylor Isleys. Police investigated the residence at approximately 11 p.m., searching for any signs of foul play. The house had been left undisturbed. A load of laundry was in the washing machine, and dishes from the previous day were left on the drying rack in the kitchen. There were also a substantial amount of money in the Martin's bank accounts. Searches were undertaken by both Multnomah County and Hood River County police, but neither were able to produce substantial leads. A stolen white 1951 Chevrolet registered in Venice, Los Angeles, California was found in Cascade Locks the day of the Martins' disappearance, but was quickly dismissed by police as it did not match their vehicle. Also found near the site of the abandoned Chevrolet was a .38 Colt Commander handgun, which had been disposed of in the bushes and was covered in dried blood. The handgun was turned over to law enforcement but never processed for evidence. The gun's serial number was traced to Muir and Frank department store. It was discovered that the handgun had been among several sporting good items that the Martin's son, Daniel, had been accused of stealing while working at Muir and Frank 2 years prior. Now, moving on to alleged sighting. On December 8th, Roy Light and another unnamed man, both ex-convicts, were arrested for car theft in Hood River County in connection with the abandoned Chevrolet, which raised suspicion in relation to Martin's disappearance. A waiter at the Hood River restaurant where the Martins were last seen told law enforcement he saw Light, who was an acquaintance, and the other ex-convict in the restaurant at the same time. He also stated that the two men left at the same time as the Martins as well. Other tips were submitted to law enforcement in the weeks and months following the family's disappearance, including over 200 letters and hundreds of phone calls. Among them was a report from an orchard owner east of Portland who claimed to have witnessed a man and woman on December 7th gathering greenery in a canyon where a Native American burial ground was located. He added that the following week he noticed a flock of buzzards flying in this direction. The canyon was searched, but nothing would be found. On December 28th, a woman's glove would be discovered near the site of an abandoned Chevrolet, which the family stated was similar to a glove Barbara would wear. It could not positively be identified as belonging to Barbara, though. On December 31st, a man called police reporting that he had seen a vehicle matching the Martins Ford speeding on the Baldock Freeway. Police were alerted along the freeway, but the car wouldn't be located. A letter was received from a witness who claimed to have seen a family resembling the Martins in Burlington, Iowa on Christmas Eve. One of the last reported sightings of the Ford came on January 7, 1959, from a truck driver who stated that he had seen a car matching the Martins. The description parked in Billings, Montana with Oregon license plates. By February 1959, investigators had undertaken searches of various locations, including the greater Portland metropolitan region, as well as searches on Mount Hood. During this time, a volunteer search of tire tracks leading off a cliff near the valleys, which reported matched the tires on the Martins Ford speeding on the Baldock Freeway. Paint chips recovered at this location were sent to the FBI for analysis, and it was determined that the paint was the same paint used on the make and model of the Ford. Based on the possibility that the Martin's vehicle might have plunged into the river, the United States Corps of Engineers lowered the level of the river by 5 feet in the lake behind Bonneville Dam, which was searched with sonar technology but yielded no results. The recovery of Susan and Virginia. On May 1st, 1959, 3 months after tire tracks were reported, a river drilling rig near the Dalles reported hooked something of substantial weight to its anchor. It became dislodged before it could be pulled to the surface. In the early morning hours of May 2nd, a fisherman and his wife reported seeing what appeared to be 2 bodies floating downstream near Cascade Locks. They later encountered the bodies near Bonneville Dam. On the afternoon of May 3rd, the body of Susan was finally discovered on the north bank of Columbia River near Commerce, Washington, roughly 70 miles west of the Dalles. Her identity was positively confirmed via dental records. The next morning, the body of Virginia was discovered near Bonneville Dam, roughly 46 miles west of the Dalles, also confirmed via dental records. Susan's body was taken to the Clark County Medical Examiner's office before being transferred to Multnomah County in Portland for autopsies. One of the technicians who had taken fingerprints prior to the autopsies indicated to the medical examiner what they believed to be bullet holes in the heads of each of the girls' bodies. In the medical examiner's report, no such injuries were found, and the cause of death for both of the girls was declared as drowning. Traces of metal, including aluminum, were recovered from Susan's clothing. The spot on the river bank where the drill rig encountered a submerged object where the car is suspected to have gone into the river was directly opposite an aluminum smelting plant. Rupert, the sheriff of Hood River County at the time, suspected that the drilling rig had overturned the Martin's car at the bottom of the river and dislodged one of the doors, allowing the bodies of Susan and Virginia to escape and surface downstream. Further searches of the water were undertaken by both sonar and helicopters, but were unfruitful. The search for Kenneth, Barbara, and Barbie was suspended after a search diver nearly drowned. Aftermath and theories. Authorities theorized that the cause of death for the Martins could have been Kenneth crashing their vehicle into the river. Another theory was that the family was abducted and forced off the cliffside. A resident of Commerce in 1961 read a letter to the Oregon Journal stating that they had been parked with a companion in Cascade Locks on the 7th of December of 1958, and they said that they had seen a vehicle proceeding under the railroad tracks toward the locks. Then they would hear screams, but when they investigated, nothing would be found. The only surviving member, Donald, would live to the age of 73, passing in 2004 somewhere in October. The Multnomah County Police suspected that foul play was involved in the Martins' disappearance based on evidence of tire tracks that seemed to indicate that their vehicle was pushed off the cliff. The arrest of the 2 ex-convicts after the Martins' disappearance would also be noted, but would be undetermined if they had anything in connection with the case. For most of the latter part of the 20th century, no search efforts to recover the 3 missing family members were made. An organized dive search by Oregonian journalist Marty Brule would bring a new solar global positioning system and LIDAR underwater acoustic technology, but it proved to be unsuccessful. Finally, in 2024, 66 years later, the vehicle would be discovered by diver Archer Mayo, who had been independently investigating the disappearance. The vehicle was located 50 feet below the water surface buried beneath rocks, silt, and other debris, and was unearthed using a vacuum dredge. Other vehicles would also be found in the process. Portions of the vehicle would be sent off to the Oregon State Crime Laboratory for examination. A driver who helped find the vehicle announced on August 22, 2025 that he had discovered the remains of several people that had been pulled from the car. A camera case with Ken Martin's name and address was also recovered, proving important confirmation of the car identity. So, would you say that this case is solved? Or would you say that it's not solved and we might never solve it? A lot of searching to do for the parents and Barbie, because we only recovered 2 of the girls from the family of 5. Maybe Archer Mayo will find more about the disappearance of the family. Let me know what you guys think about this case, and if you think that they're gonna find more about it, or if we're just gonna be left in the dark. Thank you guys so much for watching. If I earned your subscription, make sure to subscribe. We're on our way to 150 subscribers before either my birthday, September 30th, or by the end of the year. So, thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure to leave a like. It lets me know that you want to see more just like this. And please give me some suggestions in the comments down below, because I have no idea what else to talk about next. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will catch you all in my next video.